9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. 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 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Roger, Tower.
Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. It is it's Sunday, March 1st, 2026. I'm Doug, this is Alysse. Joining us today is Ron James, filmmaker, researcher, and media entrepreneur. Ron James is a filmmaker, on-camera personality, writer, and entrepreneur. He serves as media relations director for MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, and sits on the board of directors of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. His acclaimed documentary, Accidental Truth, UFO Revelations, narrated by Matthew Modine, has won 28 film festival awards and was cited during a UAP congressional hearing by Representative Tim Burchett. James is a frequent guest on programs such as Ancient Aliens and contributes to series including The Unexplained, The Proof is Out There, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, and he has also co-founded MUFON Television, the world's largest online collection of commercial-free UAP-related content. I don't know what else you can do, James, but thank you for being here.
Big resume.
We appreciate it. I know that's
well,
not
the next
even
movie's
everything.
there.
Not even everything.
I know, I listened to that and I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, wait a minute, that's you. Oh, okay. I think the bio's longer than anything else I might have to say.
Well, when I read it, I got to tell everybody.
I know, because it's all important stuff.
You're like the UFO guy. So,
yeah, I don't know about that. There's a lot of people out there that are getting a lot more spotlight than I am.
Well, we know there's a lot of people out there, that's for sure. Yeah. How'd you get involved in, let's go back. How did you, or way back, maybe as a child, or how'd you want to be involved in this UFO phenomenon?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of people ask me if I've had an experience or seen UFOs, and the truth is I really haven't, not to any great degree. I've always been fascinated with the mysterious and the paranormal and this kind of stuff because I've always believed that the key to our existence is understanding things that don't have any good explanation by our modern lenses. And that started for me at a very early age. And I used to read like UFO magazine. Nick Pope used to write a column for that. It was very inspirational to me. And, I was in the video production business, and Steve Bassett, who I met for the first time in like 2006, hired me, my production company, to go and shoot and do the live streams for his X conferences. And it was it was 2007 or 8, that I got to meet all these guys that I'd seen on TV. I'm hanging out with Stanton Friedman. There's Nick Pope over there. There's Richard Dolan, and all of a sudden I'm hanging out with them and I'm interviewing them and we're all talking. And I realized that not only was it a very honest community, as far as people doing it for the reasons they're doing it, but we're dealing with the biggest deception in human history. And I just got hooked as wanting to do some small part to help bring this awareness to the public. And so, that was 20 years ago almost. And I've made tons of UFO documentaries, hours and hours and hours of non-documentary content. And, I've just tried to do my small contribution because I do think it's the biggest question facing humanity, that and life after death.
Yeah, it's so involved and intertwined. We really want the answers, but do you think we're ever going to really get to a point where we're going to be able to put our hand on a flying saucer or a craft of any sort?
Oh, I'm sure that day will come, but it's the day when we have acknowledgement of non-human intelligent technology is probably not that far off. But is it going to answer all of our questions? We're not asking the right questions yet. In fact, you saw the new movie. I'm coming back from the studio. I was just over there, and I'm adding a whole section at the end where I talk about that, the fact that we're not asking the right questions. We don't even know what they are. And so that's really what's next, is we got to figure out, what to ask. And so will we get some sort of acknowledgement that there's non-human intelligence, possibly through the government, yeah, we'll probably will. But is it going to solve the age-old mysteries? Probably not.
Well, Trump has ordered things to be released, but really, I mean, back in the 40s and 50s.
Wait, cue rolled eyes.
Okay, sorry.
But here's the thing. Controlled disclosure has happened and happened and happened. When the British Ministry of Defense said they're going to unveil their UFO files, it was basically a nothing burger. Same thing with all the other governments. My feeling is that, we're dealing with not being political. We're dealing with an administration that just likes to keep some distractions in their back pocket. And if they can pull out something about UFOs and it makes our eyes focus on that instead of something else, that's when it's going to be a moment of opportunity. So I don't know how much they're going to give us or if they're going to give us anything, but I'm telling people not to get their hopes up.
Would you agree that, I just read The Day After Roswell by Philip Corso. Have you read that?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Bible, I call it. So anyway, what do you think about his, I have to ask you this, because how was he able, do you think that's a true story? What he conveyed there?
I didn't really feature Corso in the first Accidental Truth movie, even though he writes about some of the same stuff. And the reason I didn't is because, first off, I'm not going to attack his credibility.
Right.
But what I will say is that when I was researching the film and some other things, I ran across a little tidbit of information that really stuck with me. And that is that Philip Corso, after he got out of the military, was shopping for a book deal. And his original book deal that he was trying to shop was called I Walked with Giants. And it was about him and his interaction with all of these Pentagon higher-ups and how he was in the room like Forrest Gump. And that was the book he was trying to sell. Had nothing to do with UFOs. And that book made the rounds through the publishers and nobody took it. And then he ran into Bill Burns. And then we got The Day After Roswell. And so my question has always been, if he had the information from The Day After Roswell, why was he trying to sell a book that had absolutely nothing to do with that when he was sitting on the Holy Grail? So the whole evolution of how that book came about is a little bit dubious. But that being said, I do believe that, he was involved in something.
Right. It's hard to say. It's just an interesting story. I always hope, I read these things and I always hope, that they gave, did he give the materials to private industry where we wouldn't be able to foil, if Lockheed has a flying saucer, we can't foil it. We can't make.
Well, I believe all that stuff happened. I think that, we unveiled in the last hearing that Lockheed Martin had some materials. We talked about it in the first Accidental Truth movie, and there is a history of documented cases of things being ported to private industry and private laboratories. Just whether or not Corso did all the things that he said he'd do is not 100% provable. But is the story basically true that there was technology recovered that made its way into private industry and maybe Corso had something to do with it? I'd go as far as to say that's quite possible.
Well, how many?
I just don't know if I can sign off on all of the details because there's some things that don't bear up to scrutiny 100%. But like I said, I'm not going to discredit Corso. He probably knew something and he probably did something.
I'm just going to have to take it off Bible status now, Ron. I know. I'm going to have to lower
your standard.
Lower my standard.
Well, when you look at the history and the credibility of the Bible, it might not be such a bad match.
Exactly.
That's going to get me in a lot of trouble. I'm just kidding out there, people.
Yeah, I know.
Ron, what was the first project you did after you said you met all those people you saw on TV and you did the interviews? So what was the first project you did after that?
Well, I produced all the videos from the X conferences and released those. And then I did the citizen hearing on disclosure, which a lot of people don't know this. My company was the one that did all the video production for that event. Other people have stepped in over the years and taken credit for it, but which is a little hard to watch. But yeah, we did that. I did that, my team and my crew. And then I did the Disclosure Dialogues, which was a 5-disc set. It won the 2012 People's Choice Awards. at Open Minds, which used to be, I can't even remember what it used to be called. But that one won for the main feature, which was called It Could Happen Tomorrow. And that was back in the Obama days, talking about disclosure. And so I did those and a bunch of other documentaries and short form shows.
And here you are.
How are
And
you?
here I am.
So I see you were on the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, the show. Did you?
I haven't been on that. I've helped him with
Oh,
some
okay.
behind the scenes stuff.
Have you been to
Hey.
Have you been there?
No, I haven't been there.
Oh, okay.
You know, John Alexander he's in the film, and he's told me a lot of stories off camera about that place. And he was with Robert Bigelow the day he bought the ranch, and was the first one to spend the night there. He went up on the mesa and spent the night all by himself on the ranch.
I wouldn't,
Which
but,
I know, right? And he said nothing happened except he got bit by a lot of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
He was on an episode of Skinwalker Ranch. He actually came and visited, and he did
I
the tour
remember that.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to watch it, but I also used to watch the Oak Island Mysteries too. So I kind of like.
Well, they're similar shows because they're produced by the same people. They're narrated by my friend Robert Clotworthy, who is a heck of a really nice guy. But yeah, it's like, how do you deliver as little information as possible and stretch, what should be an hour documentary into 7, 8, 10 seasons of TV? They know what's in that mesa. They figured it out a long time ago. There's evidence of archaeological digs. There's all kinds of history there, that whatever's in there, they already know what it is. And somebody from the show walked up to me at behind the scenes, backstage at Alien Con, and literally told me that there's a spaceship in the mesa, and then vehemently denies that conversation ever took place.
Of
So
course.
I'm not going to name names, but they know what's in there.
Yeah, well, dig it out. I know there was one episode where they had the excavator there and everything. I go, well, are they going to dig it out? And nothing ever.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Well, there's
Elon
always-
Musk would
there's always
probably
a
be happy
problem.
to loan them.
Always a problem when they're drilling, right? They get stuck, they hit something hard, they can't get past it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's something weird in there. If it was me, I'd be excavating from the top. I'd be drilling holes
That's
with
what I say,
Elon
drill
Musk
down.
boring. Yeah,
Just dismantle the thing. Yeah.
it's like, yeah, just let's get to it already.
Yeah, show us. You've heard of the giant UFO? I mean, I know this has been out lately. They
Yeah,
crashed and
yeah,
They had to build a
fascinating.
building around it. Do you know where that is, Ron?
Well, supposedly one's in South Korea. There's pictures online of this building. It's a big round building
Yeah.
out in the middle of nowhere. It's like, why is that there? But so far nobody's knocked on the door and gotten in with a camera.
Yeah, it's Rick Doty. Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's friends with me on Facebook. And
Okay.
So I copied a picture of that giant facility in South Korea, and I go, is this where it is? And he's like, no, no, that's not it. Really, Rick? So where is it? You're the disinformation specialist. Did you say?
Well, according to Dr. Greer, there's a bunch of them, and yeah, that's pretty funny. If Rick Doty says it, it must be true.
Yeah, I keep trying to get him on the show, and he won't. I got to talk to my agent. So
Right.
I think
He's got to talk to his handlers.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like, do you want it? So I
Doesn't
don't
want
think
to
we're ever
disclose
going.
anything.
But I mean, really, you have the opportunity to put him on a spot. It's like, well, Rick, if that's not where it is, then where is it?
Yeah.
Because he's kind of acknowledging that it might exist.
Yeah, he's not ready to come on here.
These guys are really bad at being aloof. It's like they try to not tell you anything, and they do the best they can, but they let it slip. Obama slipped the other day when
I saw
Brian
that.
Tyler Cohen had him. That was a mistake. He didn't mean to do that. But when he said later that it's possible that there's a big conspiracy and even presidents aren't read in, that was absolutely true. There is a big conspiracy, and a lot of times the presidents aren't read in. So, people dismiss that, but he was actually telling us what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's on my list of questions for you. Do you believe there's a government above the we the people government that's, taking, hiding, or not hiding, but preventing us from getting the information we need?
The people and whatever else that are truly running the world are not the people we're looking at.
Right.
This feeds into all the other conspiracy theories about shadow government, Bilderbergs, secret groups, David Icke and his whole thing where he's saying that it's secretly being controlled by reptilians. Who knows about that? But, I'm not signing off on that, but I guess anything's possible. But the thing is, the people running the show of covering up the UFO information and covering up the broader manipulation of humanity, we don't know who they are, and we're probably never going to find out, but they do exist.
Yeah, and it's people will tell me that they're, like you were talking about, the families, the old money, the people from way back, they're the ones pulling this. Because the MJ12, they, I get the story is that they, were concealing the information and were in charge of keeping the lid on everything, but that they all died. So they have to. This has to be handed off to someone else, and you still be concealed. It's just. You
know what the really sad thing about that is that it's quite possible that a lot of it wasn't handed off. The one thing when I was making the first Accidental Truth movie that shocked me is that the government has no problem absolutely destroying evidence, no matter how historically relevant it might be. You have situations where soldiers did horrible things in Vietnam and destroyed the evidence that had ever happened. And I believe that that's quite possible, that evidence of non-human intelligence and these crash retrievals and everything else, that some of it might have just been literally destroyed, that there isn't a secret vault where you can go get to the Roswell pictures, or that the guys on MJ12 died with their secrets. And that's not as surprising as it sounds, although it's pretty shocking that it could happen. So there may hardly be anybody on the planet that even knows the whole story. It might have been lost to time.
I believe it. Look at how many people were supposedly, killed, for their secrets or whatever. And yeah, it's possible that they could have all died and the information was not passed on.
Well, not Forrestal. He committed suicide, remember?
Right. Oh, yeah, poor guy. Yeah. He just wanted a ship named after him. I mean, no, the word about him is that he was having real reservations about the secrecy, and he needed to be silenced. So.
Needed to be silenced, yes. I have some random questions. I'm not talking too much about the documentary because I don't want to give away. There's a lot I like that I really liked about it, but I want people to watch it, But you've also written some books, also, right? Other than you're an author too. What books have you written?
Well, I actually haven't written.
I thought you.
I've written a couple of books. I wrote Messiah Awakenings,
right,
which is available on Kindle. That is a story about how the Christ returns to thwart the New World Order. I wrote it in 2000. I finished it in 2012, and it's all about how these guys that are running the world decide to stage the Armageddon with technology and propaganda. And little did I know that this stuff would actually happen. So that's an interesting book if people want to look for it. It's called Messiah Awakenings. And then I write a column for the WOW newsletter, and I've written a few other books that are non-related to UFO stuff, but nothing in this field yet.
Do you know Dan Harari? He was with Contact.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, Dan's a good friend of mine. I'm on the board of directors of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance.
Yeah,
so.
He was on the show.
Oh, yeah, Dan's
he came
great.
On a couple years ago. He's pretty nice. He's a really nice guy. So to what extent is NASA involved in the UFO phenomenon? Do you think? We don't know exactly, but what do you think? I mean, I see the ISIS. I see all these pictures, of all of a sudden a ship comes. People are watching cameras. All of a sudden this giant ship comes by. ISS.
Elements of NASA have been covering this up since there was anything to cover up. There's a long and dignified history of this. Just for instance, Mars. What people don't understand is that these guys, these front-facing guys that are hanging out at JPL when Curiosity is coming down and landing, they are not seeing the footage first. Everything that gets beamed back to NASA and their regular people is all filtered through private industry and private groups that have the opportunity to make changes. And then the guys at JPL that think they're seeing all this firsthand are seeing what's been allowed through and being controlled by people we don't even know. And, Mike Baer has done a lot of work, Richard Hoagland, all about the deceptions that NASA has put in place. And when Albert Gold at the hearings that happened back in November of 24, when he said NASA's the most transparent organization he's ever worked with, if you listen very carefully to the soundtrack of that hearing, you will hear like choking laughter coming from the back of the room. That was me. And I couldn't contain myself. I mean, Danny Sheehan turned around and smacked me on the leg. But yeah, it was just too much. So yeah, NASA's been pretty complacent or pretty compliant in covering stuff up.
I mean, allegedly we've seen craft and beings on the moon, and the denial. I mean, do you believe the moon? I mean, I'm gonna throw this out. Did we really go to the moon? What do you think?
I talked to Edgar Mitchell about this at length when he was still alive, and I interviewed him on camera and off. If we didn't go to the moon, he certainly thinks he did. I have a hard time believing the whole thing was faked. I do support the idea that they had a sound stage. They had everything set up just in case there was some kind of catastrophe. And maybe even some of the footage that we see could be from that sound stage. But did we actually go and put people on the moon? I think we did. And I think that there's telescopes falling into civilian hands that can see this stuff.
I mean, the theory about the moon is that one theory is that it's hollow. It was brought here from another universe and we're going way off track here, but
the moon could very well be some kind of control center for running the planet. If you're an advanced race and you have the power to harness the energy of suns, then it stands to reason that planets to you are like farms. It's like there's all kinds of reasons to harvest and mine and grow and develop planets. And it's just happening at a scale potentially that's bigger than we can even fathom. And so, the idea that the moon's some sort of satellite is not that far-fetched, and there seems to be growing evidence to support that there's a lot about the moon that doesn't make sense.
It's interesting that, during an eclipse, it's exactly it covers the sun exactly.
They said it was a big coincidence that it's the exact size for a total eclipse.
Right. Yeah. And then there's all kinds of other things. They did those tests on
it. The bell, it rang
resonating
like a bell.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that it doesn't spin, there's something's not right about the moon. My guess is that that it could be hollow and it could be a machine. I'm not going to go off on
we're not going to
on behalf of MUFON and go say, hey, MUFON believes the moon is fake. I'm not doing that. I'll get myself in big trouble. That's my own personal opinion, and that is basically there's something not right about the moon. What it is, who knows?
By the way, Alysse is a MUFON investigator.
I'm a field investigator.
She's a field investigator for MUFON.
Whoop whoop.
How's that going, Alysse?
It's going good.
Have you found any UFOs or anything?
A lot of anomalous lights so far.
Yeah, especially around SpaceX launches, right?
Yeah.
I get
Starlink.
The first one that came over our area.
When you see them, it's freaky.
Everybody that knew me sent me a text.
Yeah.
Oh, the UFOs are here.
MUFON, now that you brought them up, I'm their media relations director, which means that I'm not their spokesperson, but I'm front facing to the media a lot. And I have to say, this organization, through all of the years that it's been around, has been through a lot. But they're still the preeminent organization devoted to studying this stuff. And a lot of people have come up and tried to do what MUFON does. But we're the only group that has people like you that are actually boots on the ground doing this work all over the world. And, the work of MUFON is more important now than ever. And so I just want people out there to know that there's a lot of ways to support MUFON. And if you care about the topic, you should look into being part of the group.
Yeah, just become a member. For
shameless plug for MUFON.
Yeah, I'm a member.
Woo.
Yeah, we go to
we go to our local monthly meetings.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Northern California chapter is a great chapter. We've got some good people there. I do think that the membership is kind of aging out, though. I mean, I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see some young people coming in.
Yeah.
We have a lot of conversations about that. When I finish this movie and get it to the distributor, which should be next week, we're going to refocus on doing some membership drive stuff, using social media, and bringing in some younger influencers. Because you're right, and the biggest thing to me is that it needs to be more about being part of a UFO club and a group than it does about, oh, join MUFON and you have to become a field investigator. Not everybody wants to do that, but they still should be part of MUFON. So we're trying to expand the appeal to a wider age demographic, and also to offer some stuff that just average armchair UFO aficionados can appreciate.
It's nice when you can get together with like-minded people and actually
It
have
really
discussions
is.
in person.
Yeah, yeah.
My wife is not a believer, and it's hard for me. I haven't seen anything either. So she's one of those, if I can't put my hand on it, it doesn't exist. And she'll go to the meetings. Every once in a while she'll go to meetings, but she rolls her eyes. People will tell the story.
She supports you, Doug. That's all that matters.
She supports my effort here. She comes on the show and talks, but she did. I don't know if you've heard the story, The Secret Journey to Planet Serpo, where we did the exchange program.
Sure.
So we did the book together. But anyway, but she's not a believer, and it's. I know I did. Preston
Dennett, yeah.
Yeah, he was on the show, and I said, I haven't seen anything, and he looks at me and he says, that's kind of a red flag.
That's pretty funny. You know what I believe is that, we all have our destiny, what we're here to do. And for me, I feel like my mission on planet Earth is to take this information, whether it be life after death, nature, reality, the ET question, the chosen things that I'm pursuing, and distill it into something that your average person can absorb. And if I were to be a experiencer, or I had these life-changing events happen, I wouldn't be able to be an objective journalist. And so I honestly think that part of the reason that I haven't been subjected to a lot of this stuff is because that's not my job and it's not my role. I can't do what I'm here to do if I'm having these influences.
Are you a musician, Ron? Play an instrument?
I do. I play guitar and I write and I sing. And I actually have a music video out there called Oh Aliens.
Oh, well, good. An intro for the show. You
can grab it. It's on MUFON's YouTube channel. Just go to MUFON's YouTube channel and click.
Do I have your
for
permission?
Oh Aliens.
Do I have permission to put it on?
Yeah, of course. I do. It's really cool. It's got an introduction by Robert Clotworthy.
Oh, wow.
It's got Eric Von Doniken and Lou Elizondo and all these people in the back end of the video, Congressman
awesome.
Tim Burchett.
Awesome.
And the lead guitar is played by Adam Schoenfeld, who's a really hot studio musician in Nashville. He's Tim McGraw's touring guitar player. So he helped me out with that. She's Katie Cook's husband, who we all know from MUFON. And so it's a cool music video. Yeah,
I'll check it out.
Welcome to grab it and use it.
Yeah, because they say that musicians are more apt to experience these
things, paranormal things.
I'm not a musician. I don't play anything. But maybe that's why I haven't seen anything. I don't know.
Well, music is a paranormal experience in and of itself.
Remember, music is mathematics too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What other questions you've got there? Are you going to present at the conference, Contact in the Desert? Are you going to do a lecture at all this year?
Yeah, I'll be doing a lecture probably around the movie or something along those lines. I haven't decided what yet.
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be exploring the broader questions even more. In fact, I'm thinking about calling it, asking what are the right questions, or asking the right questions, because that's where we're at right now. In fact, I just recorded a new segue to put in the tail end of the film. Is not only are we not asking the right questions when it comes to exploring this, we don't know what they are.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. And that's why the new film is called Next, because we can pretty much already acknowledge that we have non-human intelligence in our midst. And, so what does that mean to the evolution of society? And so that's where we go with the last part of the film.
Excellent.
You mentioned in the second documentary about post-biological future. I mean, like, I want to. I mean, I don't think I'm giving away too many secrets, but that fascinated me that, it's possible that, we were put here, and then we could be eliminated by the machines.
Well,
It'll not be
it's like,
eliminated, but just go away,
I just recorded again a little segue for that, and part of it is like, don't shoot the messenger. None of us signed up for AI. None of us signed up for this challenge that it's going to present to us. None of us signed up for what it's going to do. And I was unable to find a single person that could tell me that there was a positive outcome for humanity from our decision to pursue AI. And, the question is, well, like, why are we doing it? And what if the reason that we're doing it is because we're being guided to do it? And if you look at what happens, if a technological civilization progresses in a pretty consistent manner, which it probably does anywhere in the universe, then the ultimate outcome is artificial intelligence and artificial life forms. And so what if that's the predominant life form in the universe, and we're just being brought along to one day be a part of that? And it gets really scary.
Yeah, it made me think. It really made. Yeah, you're gonna have to see it. It really made me think, because they had the, half human, the person. It looked like a person, but it was, like a
robot.
Yeah, robot. So it was really weird. And I thought that could really. I wonder if that's, because I'm a huge Terminator fan. So I think, the machines are going to take over.
They probably will. I mean, why are we creating autonomous robots with artificial intelligence that can wage war? What are we teaching this AI? It's like, if you were AI and you're looking at humanity and you haven't come to the conclusion that we pretty much suck, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
We're not exactly a shining example of the children we want to raise, especially when they're going to control our technology and our computers, and they're going to be they're going to be sentient beings at some point. What redeeming qualities does humanity have that the AI can easily, and I'm not saying we don't get me wrong, but the AI could easily decide that we're a threat that the universe is better off without, and we're not giving it a lot of reasons to we're cheating AI we're teaching AI to lie, cheat, and steal.
Yeah.
Then, don't be surprised when that's what it does, right?
It's scary.
It's very scary.
I wonder if it's becoming more of a problem with MUFON, because people have these pictures. Oh, I got this picture. Because now with AI, you can identify it sometimes that it's an
the
AI
metadata
picture.
doesn't lie. An image has metadata, and if it's an original image that somebody shot off their phone or original video, it has all kinds of information about its origin.
Right.
So we can sniff out that
up.
AI fake stuff pretty fast, as you probably know as an investigator.
Yeah.
Can you screen that?
Yeah, that's the first thing I do when they send video or picture, look at the metadata.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it is scary. So you can see some AI stuff and it looks so real.
Yeah, I know. Half of the a lot of the animations in the film are AI that I did, and then the backgrounds behind the speakers, that was done in Unreal Engine. And I kind of had this idea of, what if they all came to a top secret government laboratory where they're studying all these craft, and that's where we shot all the interviews, and that's why I chose that theme for the talking heads in the film.
Yeah, there's a theory about with the technology part of it and being thrown at us. I mean, that UFOs could be some of the craft UFOs could be an actual gift from whoever, so that we could advance our technology. And,
Gary Nolan says that actually in the movie.
Yeah,
interesting theory.
Yeah, and that's kind of fascinating, because in '47, we're at Roswell, the turning point of technology. If you look at the turning point of technology, everybody in UFO knows this, but the turning point in technology in the 50s was unbelievable compared to where we were
prior to that.
Yeah, years prior to that.
Yeah, and we can track. There's some stuff that there's an argument for, but like nitinol, that shape-shifting alloy that supposedly they found at the Roswell crash. Well, that supposedly came out of a naval weapons research lab, but we know that it was actually developed by Battelle Memorial Institute years before by a scientist that was pioneering titanium technology. And then the cover story for where it arrived came out of there. So we've actually been able to trace specific materials that do have origin from these cases.
Is that in the new movie?
That's actually in the old one. Yeah, it's in
Right.
the
I saw it in the old one, but I didn't know if you were going to talk more about it in the new
No,
movie.
gosh, there was so much stuff that ended up on the cutting room floor. Linda Moulton Howe's material is still being studied. It's still the gift that keeps on giving. Gary Nolan told me some things about that align with previous discoveries that we didn't get into the film, unfortunately. I'll do something with it.
You need to do a part 3 of
Yeah,
Accidental
gosh,
Truth.
part two's taken me 2 years. I thought I was going to be done with that thing in 6 months, but it's just been one thing about making these films is that we're in such a fast-moving landscape that, like when I put out the first Accidental Truth, 2 weeks later, after the release date, we get David Grush, and it's like, well, if I would have waited, David Grush would have been a part of the story.
Right.
So from the time you turn it over to the distributor, you're literally sitting in. You're horrified that there's going to be some big major disclosure that makes your film obsolete. And so I did everything I could in this one to try to future-proof it, which is why we only spend so much time in Washington before just saying, enough.
It's like technology. You get the newest phone, and 6 months later, here comes a new version. That's better.
Yeah. So that happens to UFO filmmakers. We're probably unique because nothing else on the planet's moving that fast as this landscape.
So 2 years it took you to make this?
Well, longer than that if you count all the time doing the interviews. But by the time Accidental Truth came out in April of 23, and I was starting on the sequel about the same time in 24. And it looks like we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary. So yeah, it's about 2 years to make that.
And what's next on the horizon? What are you working on right now? Besides finishing this?
Yeah, there's going to be a big, I have to go around and do interviews and promote the film. And then I've got a couple projects on the board. I'm actually working with JJ and Desiree Hertog to do a documentary about them and JJ's life and the Keys of Enoch and the teachings. It's going to have Carlos Santana in it, which is really cool.
Awesome.
Cool. So I'm doing that with them. And then I'm doing some music stuff. And I'm not sure what my next doc is going to be. I've got a Life After Death one that's in some stage of completion. I'm also working with Michael Schratt. We're doing a video called Stringfield Theory, and that'll probably be ready to release sometime early summer, maybe late summer. But it's all about Leonard Stringfield and his cases.
Michael's cool, so that'll be good.
Michael's great. Yeah, I like Michael a lot.
Have you met Bob Lazar?
Yeah, I finally got to meet Bob Lazar at where was it? Oh, they had me come in to speak at the McMinnville UFO conference, and Bob Lazar was there, and I was interviewing Ryan Graves, and he was a speaker too. So while I was interviewing Ryan Graves, this guy came in and said, "Hey, do you want to meet Bob Lazar?" And so we all went up there, and so I have this great picture of Ryan Graves, me, and Bob Lazar together. It's priceless.
Cool.
But yeah, I finally got to meet Bob. It was really cool.
So what do you think about his story about his experiences with seeing the craft and things?
Yeah, he's kind of like Travis Walton, the story's managed to survive the test of time, and he's never wavered from what he says. It's quite possible.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to dirt anybody, but it's because I don't know. He's got a new film, some sort of film coming out about, it's going to be not kind of animated, but about his experience. The whole S4 thing.
Yeah, that I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen bits and pieces of it, and I've talked to the filmmaker. Can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but they rented the DeLorean from Back to the Future to have Bob
I saw that in the intro
and drive it. It's kind of really cool. So it's a unique doc. I don't know why it's not out yet. It's been done for a while. It's all distribution is kind of a problem right now. A lot of people are getting shut down, and independent filmmakers are, Amazon's turning down movies, and it's just getting tough.
Oh, really? I didn't know there.
Well, that's interesting because last year at Contact in the Desert, I was talking to Ben Hansen, and I was asking him what he's working on. He says, a lot of these networks and companies are kind of steering away from paranormal UFO which I thought was strange because that's a big thing right now, right, with the hearings and everything. So
Well, every time we get ahead of our skis and we start stumbling collectively on more information than they want us to have,
yeah,
they have ways of dialing it back. Like when I think it was a Wall Street Journal put out an article about how the entire history of ufology is fake and nothing really happened. That was a body blow from the people that I'm talking about. And then, Lou Elizondo holding up a fake UFO picture at a hearing attended by sitting members of Congress. That was not an accident, I do not believe. And so every time we get a little bit ahead of the game and maybe a little bit more ahead of where they want us to be, or we start putting the puzzle together in ways that they're not happy with, that we get blindsided. And
pushback. Yeah,
there's a lot of ways that they can do it.
bummer.
I know.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the documentary? That we don't want to disclose everything, but I think...
Well, okay, so it's Accidental Truth Next, and the reason I called it Next is because I thought it was a clever name for a sequel, but it's really about what's next. We go into some insider journeys through Washington where I show people, and not trying to brag on myself, but I show people how I went there and personally did a lot of stuff. And I hope it serves as inspiration to people that everybody can go and make a difference. You can knock on doors. You get something done. And so that whole adventure through Washington, D.C., including setting Arrow up with samples to test and seeing what the results were, that was all, a very interesting inside story that nobody's going to get anywhere else, behind the scenes of how David Grush came forward. But through the film, we quickly understand that we're only going to get so much information from Washington, no matter what. So we then delve into some very mysterious materials cases that reinforce that there's things that we can't explain, but that demand explanation. And then finally, in the film, we are going to ask the question. What are the questions we should be asking? What are the things we should be thinking about when we try to figure out what this is? And that's what's next. And so the last part of the film has a lot of very interesting people saying a lot of interesting things. And it's really taking us in the direction of where do we need to go from here. And it's narrated by Matthew Modine again. It features Thomas Jane and a lot of it's a great cast. There's like 30 people in this movie.
I loved it, your segment with Tim Burchett. Is he as genuine and cool as he appears?
He really is. Tim is a salt of the earth guy.
I like him, yeah.
He's amazing. And, over the years, I've interviewed him, I think 4 or 5 times. And that very first video that we have in there about the UFO investigator briefing a sitting member of Congress, nobody's ever recorded that before. My question when I went to Washington is, do these guys really know what's going on? Who's telling them? Because if they're talking to people in the Pentagon, they're not getting the truth. If they're talking to, who is the one sitting down with them and saying, look, this is what's really happening? And so when I had the chance to do that and sit down with Tim, and you could tell I was nervous as hell. The first time I sat in an office with a congressperson and I was about to go tinfoil hat. But I did it and I documented it. That's the thing that's cool about it is, so now I proved once and for all in this film and in doing that work that yes, sitting members of Congress are hearing the story that the UFO community knows is true. And so they can't deny it. They can't say, well, no, we don't know anything about Roswell except what the Pentagon tells us. That's not true. They know. They know what's going on. We've put witnesses through their offices, and we've done this work. And this movie proves that we've done this work. And so kind of puts it on them. They have no deniability about what they've been told.
Do you have any more members of Congress or the Senate in the second movie next?
Yeah, we've got Eric Burleson. I interviewed Kirsten Gillibrand. I actually have her on camera looking right at the camera and assuring whistleblowers that they can come to Arrow, which actually turns into a bit of a joke. And yeah, I think there's Andre Carson's in it, but not from an interview, although I did interview him off camera. So yeah, we got Burchett, we got Burleson, we have Kirsten Gillibrand. Is there anybody else? I don't think so. Yeah, I think we have those 3.
Arrow doesn't. Is it changed since the Kirkpatrick thing? I mean, the new guy.
Yeah, they got a new guy. James Fox got invited to their office, and he talks about that. He was basically told that they can't do anything. Kirsten Gillibrand really believes in Arrow, but they haven't succeeded at their mission.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in the film, you see that I wanted to personally find out if Arrow could be trusted. And, like, who am I? But I did it anyway. I went and I pulled metal samples from a very well-known case, and I delivered that stuff to Kirsten Gillibrand's office, and Arrow actually tested it and released results that are not in alignment with the independent testing that we did. So I helped kind of bust Arrow.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to mention that, but that's what I got out of it. It's the same old thing with them. They're just another government, alphabet agency that's not going to help the effort at all.
Well, it's funny. It's like I tell people I set Arrow up, and they're like, "What the heck? What are you talking about? How did you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, watch the film. You'll see exactly how I did it."
Yeah.
I totally played them.
Awesome.
That's very cool.
All right. Well, that's the only questions I have, unless you have something to add there, sir.
Well, it's Accidental Truth Next. It's coming out in May. It's a production of Ron James Television and MUFON TV. You can find the website at accidentaltruths.com. Keep up with the movie. And that's pretty much it. I really appreciate you guys having me on. And, I'm really glad that you liked the film. Not very many people have seen it. And,
it was awesome.
I'm scared to death when it gets out there, what's going to happen.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
You can share it with her.
I won't. I'll play it here for him. I won't share the link or anything. But
Cool.
Awesome, Ron James. Thank you very much. You're. I think you might be the biggest, person that we've had on, UFO guy that we've had on the show. So
the thing is all you guys out there doing this stuff. And God bless you for being a member of MUFON. I never turned down a podcaster, because the one that you're mean to today might be the next, George Norrie. So you have to be very careful. And plus, I don't think I'm anything major. I'm just a guy doing this work, and it's you guys that make it possible for me to get my message out. So thanks for having me on.
Well,
thank you for doing your work, because we think it's great.
Yeah, we love doing it, and we're going to keep fighting the good fight.
I really appreciate it. And thanks for taking the time to look at the new movie and letting me know what you think.
Absolutely. All right, sir. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Have a great day, you guys.
All right. Take
Bye.
care. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, or guest requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook. Listen to us wherever you get your favorite podcasts, Twitter and Instagram at Alien Probe Pod, YouTube and Rumble at Alien Probe Podcast. We also have a paid version on Patreon if you'd like to show your support. However, the content is free on all other platforms.